Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes? Matt here from YoVideogames. As you are all well aware, I am the only Nintendo fan amongst the crew. And while I have a lot to say about the company in general at E3, I am going to focus this video on just Star Fox Zero. Developed in conjunction with Platinum Games, Star Fox Zero is a reimagining of the series, this time with new control options and transformations. Overall, I enjoyed what I played, but I didn't love it. And that's really disappointing after all these years. Star Fox Zero is the third remake of the original title. If you remember back, Star Fox 64 was a remake of the SNES game, and then we got a remake of 64 on the 3DS not too long ago. Going back to Corneria and the Lilat system over the same story, same basic level, and same villains is just uninspired. Yeah, the visuals are not too hot right now, but I think even with subpar graphics, I could overlook that if it was a brand new solar system. I really hope the rest of the game isn't as much of a retread as the opening level. As for how it plays, I think the Direct did a lot to confuse people, as you don't steer the R-Wing with gyro controls like a person with a broken neck. You pilot the R-Wing like classic Star Fox, and fire with the trigger, but you can also independently aim the ship's turrets with gyro controls. I had conflicting reports from Nintendo reps on whether the gyro can be turned off in the final game, but I hope it is optional. Not that they are bad, but they feel very tacked on. If the first level is anything to go by, then you can play through the game just fine like old times and not have to worry about motion controls. Boost and brake are now mapped to the right stick, as is turning the ship on its side and barrel rolls. This takes a bit of getting used to for veterans of 64, but it's not so bad after a few minutes. With the face buttons opened up, somersaults and U-turns are now mapped to X and B. Going back to the visuals, I do have to admit that while the title is running at 60 frames per second, it does feel a bit slower than previous entries. I really hope for a hard mode like on the SNES days to spruce things up. While Platinum is supposedly working on the visual aspect, it feels strange that the Easter egg level in Bayonetta 2 looks better than everything we have seen so far. In the end, the biggest problem with Star Fox Zero is how little it seems to bring to the table. The Mech Walker is an idea from a finished but unreleased Super Nintendo game, and the levels themselves seem to be a retread of the first two titles. And Nintendo has supposedly commented that the game is movie length to complete and does not have any online multiplayer. It just doesn't scream major first-party title like it should, and seems to be more of an outsourced side project left to fill in the gaps in the release calendar. I'm not hopeless on the title, I just wasn't stunned the way I was 18 years ago when Star Fox 64 blew up the N64. Well, let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you later on the channel. Later, dudes!